Do you have a desire that appears right now to be impossible to achieve? For example, you cannot even pay your monthly rent, yet you desire to own a home. The universe is ordered by law and governed by principle. So, for every effect, there is a cause. It might be impossible to achieve a goal if you pursue the desire by itself. But if you look for the cause and trigger the cause, then your desire can manifest as the effect of that cause. So, for every effect, that is the manifestation in material state of your desire, that's the effect, there is a principle in the energy realm that you need to trigger in order to make this effect come to play. All right? Let me share a personal testimony with you so you can get a bright picture of what I'm talking about and also be encouraged to follow suit. 2014 was the peak of my midlife crisis. I had left my family in the UK in the midst of depression and had returned to Nigeria to try to revamp my dyeing business at that time. It was really, really difficult because as at the time I left UK, it was 250 naira to a pound, and the plan was I would be able to maintain my family in the UK, at least put a roof over their head at 1,000 pounds per month. That was only 250,000 naira per month. By the time I got to Nigeria several months down the line, this became practically impossible because a pound went from about 250 to as high as 500 naira. So, meeting the basic $250, 250 naira was already difficult. Now I had the double burden of raising over 500,000 naira per month to provide a roof over my family's head. So every month I will come to God in prayer, in weeping, in complaints. God, the month is, I have managed to pay the previous rent. Now the new month is starting. How am I going to raise the rent for this month? So this became a routine, and I was, of course, a very sad version, depressed version of myself. So this day I came early from work. I'm still in my work attire. I just laid on the bed and was in my regular sober, reflective, sad mood, and asking God, how am I gonna pay? How am I gonna pay the rent for this month? God, help me, my family, my children. What will happen to them if they throw them out in a strange land in the UK? Please, God. And then I had this feeling that I would interpret verbally to mean, oh, you have come again. Why is it always about you and your family? You and your family. And to me, that was kind of strange because I thought I was a good man. I thought that I was philanthropic. I thought that I was paying tithes and offerings regularly. I thought that. So I began to mention in my mind, I began to recount instances where I had helped people, where I had contributed to God's work and projects and so on and so forth. And then the voice returned and asked, as if saying, okay, if you are that perfect, if you are that good, if you are that holy, where is your brother's family? So when I heard that, where is your brother's family? That hit something. It hit the core of my heart. And I leapt from the bed and I screamed loudly. And that singular question made a book of meaning to me. So when I recovered from that shock, I began to look for ways to to reconcile to. I began to look for my brother's family, my late half brother's family. And then 3 days or so later, I located them, found out they were squatting in an uncompleted church building. They had no home, they had no roof over their head. So the little that I was saving in order to complete and send to my family as rent, I had to use that to settle them and provide roof, provide a one-room apartment for them. And then by the time I came back to my prayer room a week or two later, and I was ready to, in my regular mood, to start asking, to start begging, to start weeping, to start pleading for resources to pay my family's rent for that month, the burden that that I always had to present to God, that heavy heart was no longer there. It was gone. And in place of prayer, in place of asking, what I heard was, now that you have done this, and for as long as you continue to be responsible to that family, as long as you continue to provide a roof over their head and provide and be a father to your brother's family, leave your family's affair to me. Leave that to me. And truly, even though I hadn't paid rent at that time, my mind, my body was already gone. My mind was already light. And that was in 2014, thereabouts. And it was just as it was promised me. From that moment till now, I never have to worry about, oh, how will I pay my mortgage this month? How would I take care of my family? How would I pay this? No, 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 no. I never have to worry. It just happens. It just happens. Business just flourishes in such a way that raising enough money to take care of my family is the least of problems. And that was where my eyes were opened to the principle that unlocked this this miracle. And the principle says, whatsoever ye would that the universe, that nature, that God does for you, use other men to do for you, go out of your way. Look for someone else who is in need of that same desire and do for that person. This simple principle is the summary of all principles as taught from time immemorial by all the prophets in all the books, by all religions. Whatsoever ye would that men should do for you, that God should send men to do for you, that the universe should open doors and release to you, that same thing in the smaller version that you can, go and do for someone else. For this is the summary of all laws. Remember, we said the universe is kept in place by laws and maintained, governed by principles. So the summary of all of the laws is wrapped in this golden rule. Whatsoever ye will that men should do for you, go ye out and do same unto them, for this is the law and the prophet. So, whatsoever we desire is in our hands to achieve. If only we would make ourselves channels for that same thing to go through us to somebody else. The prayer that the universe understands is not till you voice it out. Once, in fact, the universe interacts with your aura, the electromagnetic spectrum around you, that you make effort to convert, sometimes inaccurately, through the vocal cord to cord. So the universe already knows you as machine understands machine without you voicing it out. So the prayer it understands is when you do for others what you desire to be done for you. That is the prayer that the universe understands. So imagine that the universe is always holding in its hands what you are looking for and looking for who to give that. So, and then his eyes roaming the entire earth. So he's going to release that to someone who he finds giving that same thing to someone else. Okay? So, once you determine the seed to be sowed, for example, you want a home, you desire a home. I'm not talking about when you can afford the home and you are saving towards it. I'm talking about when you do not even dream that you can afford it. It's something you desire, but it's completely out of your power. It is not something you can do for yourself by yourself. All you need to do is, even if it's 1,000 naira or $1, as long as that is the best seed that you can sow, that you can contribute, go and look for somebody. Go and look for a family and commit yourself responsibly to doing that for them. Not once, not twice, not for 1 year, responsibly and consistently for the rest of your life. Take it up as your responsibility. And you'll be amazed. You would be surprised how that seed would bear fruits that by yourself would not have imagined possible. So, however, it is important to first make the ground on which you intend to sow that seed fertile, so that the fruits from that cultivation will make a bountiful harvest. So, how do you make the ground fertile before sowing this seed? All right, so follow me for more, and then we'll talk about this in the next episode.